What I understand about themes, sometimes they're not what they are presented to be. Let's take World War II, the Holocaust. People picked up and hauled off to concentration camps. Starvation, pestilence, and all else going on. Then one day a guard walks up and says, "Hey, we know you guys and gals in here are feeling bad and dirty, you're stinking, you're hungry, so tell you what. We're going to get you people cleaned up and into a fresh change of clothes, and afterwards you can have an all-you-can-eat buffet." Now, doesn't that sound nice? And then everybody says, "Yay, we're going to get clean and full." And gassed them. Themes. When I try to show people what's really up with critical race theory, more than a few people will come here and tell me about the theme of it. Critical race theory. Most of these people I'll just, delete and or block. They'll come and tell me, "Oh no, critical race theory is good. It's so we can be treated equal and have equity and tell the true history of America." But that's the theme that they've been sold, and they'll come here, and they've came here and tried to sell it to me too.
If you haven't heard the name Desmond Napoles, get ready for this trailblazing 11-year-old drag kid who RuPaul is calling the future. His bravery is inspiring so many. We're going to talk to him in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at his amazing story.
I also do drag, and I love to put on makeup, dresses, and wigs, and of course, jewelry if necessary. My full drag name is Desmond is Amazing. I feel very happy to have a mom that accepts me.
It really touches me deeply that there are other children out there that he's reaching and they're listening to him and he's influencing them.
Please welcome Desmond Napoles, AKA Desmond is Amazing. How you doing?
Thanks for being here. I love that you love root beer, caffeine free. I can get on board with that.
My mom doesn't like me drinking caffeine.
That there are other children out there that he's reaching and they're listening to him and he's influencing them.
His name is Desmond, and I don't think I need to add any commentary on that there, what you just saw. I don't need to say nothing. But that's where it's going in the world. And later I'm going to show you something from a mad Timmy in his latest stunt. Likely because he saw the other video I did where I was talking about him. He's been watching me for years and vice versa. And vice versa. I'll be watching Timmy. But I'm going to play something for you. And this one I'm going to play for you. When Dad lifts up that image you see on the desk, it's going to be laying on the desk when I show it. But I'm going to have to switch the visual because there's no way I'll be able to get away with showing that on here. I'll probably even get flagged for showing Desmond, but here.
So parents are starting to realize what liberals are up to in the schools and what they're doing to their children. And so they're taking to school board meetings and public hearings and city council meetings. And so we've got another example of it right here. The parent finds out the left is teaching their kids porn and sex acts in school. He goes to the city council, and it went a little bit something like this.
And I'm not here to talk about transgender, queer, non-binary, heterosexual, transsexual, pansexual, whatever it is. I don't care about any of that. What I came here tonight was just simply to read a little bit. So we're gonna get up on Uncle BJ's lap here And I'm going to read you a little bit from what is accessible to my two boys in high school. I got a new strap-on harness today. Can't wait to put on so you will fit and favor dildo perfectly. You're going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside me. So that's that. Then we have another one here. It really never occurred to me you put something in your vagina, not even a finger. It really didn't. You never tasted yourself? No, ooh. Wait, you have? Ha ha, of course, you should try. And so, vagina slime. Now, this right here, I don't care if it's heterosexual, lesbian, I don't care what it is. It's filth. It won awards. Jenna Jameson won awards at the AVAs. And then we'll have people say, oh my gosh, my kids have seen this when they were 14, it's on their phones. I don't care. I'm being kind, I'm being respectful. These are my two boys I'm trying to protect and the kids behind them. So, do we sell weed and beer in the cafeteria? I know lots of kids got rocked down on Marco Island. I know of them, but we don't sell it in the schools. I feel your job as educators and administrators is to protect our children from pornography. So I don't feel bad showing this right now because it's in our schools and you're allowing it. So you shouldn't feel uncomfortable. You shouldn't feel uncomfortable for me what I was reading because I'm just reading what's in these books.
The link to that will be in the description box where over there you can see the actual images. It was the images that Dad had blown up. Where are these images? In the school's library. This is what's in these books. On that thing, a poster, the big picture that Dad had in his hand were two young-looking people, one giving the other a blowjob. Those images, you could see the penis inside of the other boy's mouth. And those were boys, although the images were animated, I can still tell the difference in adult cartoons and kids. Those were kids.
To thank you all for complying with the Code of Civility.
Your next in-person speaker is Jacob Engels.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think you clearly know how I feel about the mask mandate. You're out of bounds. It's unlawful what you're doing right now. There is something very concerning that I think just speaks to the whole disorder that's going on in this board. And I'm going to read a passage of a book that's floating around in your schools. It's been banned from many other schools. And as a member of the LGBT community, the fact that, is that funny to you? I'm sorry. The fact that this is floating around for children as young as ninth grade is concerning. A passage from Gender Queer. Fast forward, we've been dating for 2 months. We've made out. We've had sex. We've moved on to sexting at work. I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you. It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You are going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your...
Mr. Engels,
Yes.
I appreciate the irony of what I'm about to say.
I'd like to continue reading.
No, we're not going to have, sir, I'm sorry.
I want to have your blanket
Mr.
in my
Engels,
mouth.
you're out of order, and if you don't stop now, we will remove you from the
Then I want you
chambers.
inside me.
Remove him from the chambers.
Yeah, why? You don't want to...
I understand, guys, if we can be quiet, I will answer your questions.
In your schools.
I understand that if that book is in the classroom, and the language that he just read is inappropriate for this forum.
Then remove it.
Excuse me, I have the floor. I'm respectful to you when you speak, and be respectful to me, or we'll take another recess. Okay? And if not, we'll be back here having this conversation again.
So let me get this straight. It could be in the kids' library, but if I read it, I'm thrown out for being dirty. Okay for minors, but deemed to be inappropriate to read in front of adults. Like the first clip I showed you, the dude that got thrown out was reading directly from one of the books that they're supplying the kids with. That'll be in the description box. I'll call it Stop Being a Concerned Parent. The first clip of the guy holding up of dad holding up the images. I'll call that one Angry Dad. But let me read something for you. And the link will be in the description box, and I'll call it the article, to keep it plain and simple. The comments were made at the Fertility Health Summit hosted by the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. The professionals said, and this is what they wrote, the professionals said children as young as 3 should be taught about sex and fertility before starting at primary school or risk future chances of parenthood through lack of knowledge, experts have warned. Young adults receive only 20% of information about fertility from official sources and often do not learn about their reproductive health until they are trying to conceive, it was revealed. Okay, like I said, the link will be in the description box. In other words, they want them to know early that sex is coming. This is grooming. And see, the thing is to pretend that none of this is going on, and they have all kind of deceptions. And the main deception is to scrub, erase, and censor as much evidence as possible. And this is what makes room for people to convince other people that there's no proof that this is going on. Just like they do with critical race theory.
He's worked in pre-K programs, in SKPS, student taught at Sumter Elementary, and chaperoned students on trips across the country while teaching the past 5 years. Had access to kids 24/7, little boys and girls. A child predator. They're arguing, or he's arguing, the nudes were mistakenly sent to a student. Well, I'll tell you what, if you don't even have the wherewithal not to send nudes to the right person, you probably shouldn't be a teacher anyway. You're already a pervert nonetheless. But it's the exact type of person you think it is. Here's the example in clip 16.
Oh, can I show you what I'm proudest of?
It's all this teacher, and we play these videos all the time, by the way. We play these videos all the time of these liberal teachers. If you watch the War Room regularly, you know it.
Right there. And I've been showing y'all in these other videos that I done that critical race theory is also within the child harming thing, too. And I doubt any of you listening will find any of the LGBTQ teachers that are opposed to critical race theory. Why you can't find them? Well, because their sexually deviant agenda goes hand in hand with critical race theory. That's why you're not going to find no gay teachers opposed to critical race theory. I mean, you probably could, but I doubt it. Right? And the same ones that deny critical race theory, they deny that critical race theory is being taught in schools, are the same ones that will deny that the child harming thing is being put in schools as well. Right? Oh, and the dads I showed you earlier, the two that was reading the pornographic material, guess where that was at? That was in the books in Florida. But people been insisting to be provided with examples. Like, do you have any examples of that? As if it's not been going on in Florida or anywhere else. Give me some examples. Yeah, I got some examples.
Actually, teachers going to 5-year-olds and talking to them about certain things that are inappropriate. They need to be locked up. Forget taking away their license. They need to go to jail, Johnson, because that's basically what you're saying. Like, you're talking about lewd things. And that's how people hear it. Because when the people at home hear the story, when they hear this topic, they're thinking like regular, what's this? I don't want my grandbaby listening to this. I don't want my son and daughter learning about the hoo-ha and change purses and what to do with the thing. No, I thought that was like when grade was 4th grade, when you take sex education and you got to sign a permission slip. That's how it was when I was coming up.
Whoa, a moment of clarity there from Timmy. Said that they should be locked up. But let's see what he said before that.
Okay, so anyway, A state. I'm sorry, state. Here's the part you won't hear anywhere else. And I'm trying to... If I thought the Don't Say Gay bill was a bill, if I could actually believe the Republicans and actually believe Ron DeSantis, that in schools they're teaching 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds stuff, if I thought that's what that bill was really about, I would support it. And I wouldn't care who got mad at me. Because if you watch this show and you think you got to agree with me all the time and that's the condition in which we operate, well, that's not a friendship, man. That's like a slave. I can't be your slave, Johnson. I'm going to have to disagree with you on certain things. I'm a father and a grandfather, man. I can't, I would not co-sign. I don't want nobody teaching my grandbaby nothing. She'll be 3 this year. I don't want nobody teaching her nothing about nothing, man. Sexual. So if I thought that's really what that bill was about, I would say, okay, well, I don't like Ron DeSantis. He's mostly creepy. He has a very punchable face. But he may be right about this. I could say that and still be okay. Look myself in the mirror in the morning because I'm not auditioning for anything. Not that I would be hired. But I would keep it 100 with you. But see, that's not what I think's going on. I think it's all trickery and foolery and gamesmanship and politics and a bunch of other garbage that at the end of the day, it hurts people. That's what I believe. See, some of the folks that I know who have criticized it, I don't know if they know or not. Maybe they know, okay? But I know for certain there are some people on the right who could care less if it really hurts people or not. They just go line up behind their chosen team and ride with it because that's where the money is. You ride with your team, and then when everybody gets paid, you line up and you get your rations and you put them in your pocket, or you get your buttermilk biscuits and you put them in your sack. It's on your stick that's over your shoulder. Get what I'm saying? So this thing that Ron DeSantis is making like it's us Florida families against the world. Like this is nonsense. I think it's all gaslighting and nonsense. I don't think that's what's happening. Now, if there were actually teachers going to 5-year-olds and talking to them about certain things that are inappropriate, they need to be locked up. Forget taking away their license. They need to go to jail, Johnson, because that's basically what you're saying. Like, you're talking about lewd things. And that's how people hear it. Because when the people at home hear the story, when they hear this topic, they're thinking like regular, they're thinking like regular, like, you know, what's this? I don't want my grandbaby listening to this. I don't want my son and daughter learning about the hoo-ha and change purses and what to do with the thing. No, I thought that was like when grade was 4th grade when you take sex education and you got to sign a permission slip. That's how it was when I was coming up.
If that was going on in schools, he would want those teachers locked up and he don't want his grandbabies being taught about fucking. If that was happening, he said. Pretend that it's not going on. Just like the clips I've played you in them other videos of TIMMY pretending that critical race theories is not in school either. Now, do I think TIMMY wants to fuck children or that he thinks it's cool for others to do it? No, absolutely not. I don't get that vibration off from Tim. No, I don't think that about him. But as I said the last time I talked about him, he's so fixated on his black agenda that it's blinded him to all other things. So blind that he's even willing to lie. Blinded by the theme of justice, equality, and equity, and black empowerment, can't and or refuses to see or hear anything else.
New tonight at 11, as students head back to class for the new school year, you may be wondering if they're going to be learning about critical race theory. It's something that's been making headlines lately. Our Verify team has the answer.
The question, will critical race theory be taught in Carolina K-12 schools this year? Let's verify. Our sources, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, the South Carolina Department of Education, and Catawba College Chair of Political Science, Dr. Michael Bitzer.
So first of all, what is critical race theory?
Critical race theory is an assumption about how the world works. And this was developed in law schools in the late 1970s and 1980s to say that just as the law can be political, so too can the law be based on race.
Looking at dictionary.com's definition, critical race theory is a concept framework that considers the impact of historical law and social structures on the present-day perpetuation of racial inequality.
Oftentimes, what critical race theory puts forward is the notion that inherently race is found within our legal structures, within our government operations, and that we need to take that into consideration when public policies are made.
Professor Bitzer tells us this is only taught in higher education, specifically law school.
It is not an educational approach at the K through 12 curriculum.
He's lying. Deceptive wording, those deceiving words again. It's not in the curriculum, he said. And I've shown y'all in previous videos that it doesn't have to be in the curriculum before it can be taught.
It is not an educational approach at the K through 12 curriculum.
So is it going to be taught in the Carolinas? We went straight to the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and South Carolina Department of Education. NCDPI sent us this statement saying, in part, quote, critical race theory is not included in the state's board's approved social studies standards, nor is it supported by the NC Department of Public Instruction.
Now, did they just say that critical race theory is not in schools? No, that's not what they said. They say critical race theory is not included in the state board's approved social studies standards. That's what they said. It's a big difference in it not being in there or if it's in the curriculum or not. Big difference. And there's the deception in that.
Florida education officials claim elementary school math books are being used to indoctrinate students. The state recently rejected about 41% of the textbook submissions, claiming they referenced critical race theory or other prohibited topics. CNN's Layla Santiago has more.
These are the images released by Florida's Department of Education, examples of what it finds too objectionable to be included in public school math books. One of the images, which the Department of Education says were sent to them by the public, shows a bar graph measuring racial prejudice by political identification. Another, adding and subtracting polynomials, a section that begins with, what, me, racist? It goes on to talk about racial prejudice and measuring bias. Public school textbooks, just the latest battleground in a culture war waged by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
There's really outrageous things going on about what they're doing by basically using critical race theory to bring ideology and political activism as to the forefront of education.
Florida's Department of Education says it's rejecting publishers' attempts to indoctrinate students. The overwhelming majority of materials they deemed problematic were for students K through 5th grade. Some of the books, according to the department, did not meet state standards. Others incorporated prohibited topics or unsolicited strategies, including critical race theory.
It's kind of interesting to see this ever-expanding umbrella under this fear-mongering campaign that's, using critical race theory as the sort of Trojan horse in education.
Another reason textbooks were rejected, references to social emotional learning in math. It's a practice that supports the social side of learning and emotional needs of children, as described by the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning.
This is a fight about, honestly, next to nothing. A lot of this is inspired by political disputes and by political advantage. There is a vast industry in this country that uses contempt and hatred to divide us politically. And I think sometimes that industry of division and contempt uses schools to advance its own aims.
A New York Times review of 21 of the rejected books found many of the textbooks included social emotional learning content, but
And what is social and emotional learning in math for, huh? I'll tell you why. It's your critical race theory hidden in there, along with the ones who want to hurt children. Right? Because whatever happened to 2 + 2 = 4 in math class? What is social and emotional learning for in math? What is that?
Pronoun prick. Medical student boasts about abusing patient with needle after pronoun diss. Stories on the Post Millennial. She bragged about it on her own Twitter account, which she has since deleted for obvious reasons. I had a patient I was doing a blood draw on to see my pronoun pin and laugh loudly to the staff. She, her, well, of course it is. What other pronouns even are there? It? So she wears a pronoun pin. She wears a pronoun pin. Somebody laughs about it. And so she says, I missed his vein, so he had to get stuck twice. By the way, that's extremely painful and medical abuse. And it's being reported. She's under investigation for it. A student reported on at the Post Millennial, Kishel Del Rosario, fourth-year medical student at Wake Forest School of Medicine, bragging about abusing a patient because they laughed at her pronoun pin.
Listen, they're already instituting this delusion that there is no such thing as gender, and someone being male or female is just a social construct. And because it's just a social construct, one can be anything that they choose to be. Now, they've already started that, and I figure that it won't be long before they start saying that age is just a social construct. You know, like the song go, age ain't nothing but a number. Look, critical race theory is not only a very divisive hate doctrine, but it also wants children in a Marxist government.
You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. We'll convert your children. Someone's gotta teach them not to hate. We're coming for
We are grooming the new generation of Americans.
We're coming for your children. We're coming for them. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. We're coming for them.
Drag should be an all-ages thing, and some people consider it provocative.
Your children will work to convert all their sisters and brothers. Then soon we're almost certain.
They were all accepting. They all were happy about it and excited and giving me hugs and everything.
I start them young, right?